Hello, welcome back. Hands are alright today, I guess. Still got the burn line, but we're gonna keep on ratting. We're gonna keep on trucking. Today we're gonna be making kind of a light brownish kind of rat. So I'm gonna take some white clay. That actually is probably way too much clay, so we'll do quite a bit less clay than that. I'm just going to take a little bit of brown. I don't want to go super overboard because I will be doing a full brown rat in the basically a Jerry rat, Jerry color scheme. With the disclaimer I always use whenever I say that, I know that Jerry is a mouse, and we're not making mice, but the color scheme is obviously very identifiable and pretty close as the rat and the mouse may be. Many people will correct me, thinking that I am mistaking Jerry the cartoon for a rat, which I'm not. Anyway, here we are again. Let's just see where we end up. I don't know really what shape I'm going for or anything like that. I just know what color I'm going for. I think it's just going to be a nice colored rat, kind of a Ovaltine or Nesquik kind of chocolate milk colored rat. So clay is warming up really nicely. Conditioning. You don't want to overdo it, but because then it becomes unworkable, as many of you have seen. It becomes too malleable. So we'll get our foil ball, and you can use any foil ball. This is a one-sheet foil. And all you want to do is kind of find your rat there. And I think right off the bat, I'm going to use this kind of shape right here where you see the nose is kind of already formed. This is way too much clay for this, so we'll just take a little bit. I am working on cutting back the amount of clay that I'm just blasting onto the rat. Really just so I can kind of make sure that I don't deal with any issues in the future with cracking or anything like that. And this has been one of my newer methods, is just kind of make a little ball and roll it. It's a pretty quick way to start your process. You get a really nice even ball most of the time. And then you can kind of just find your rat. There it is. Then go ahead and work your rat, making sure you save enough clay for the lips and ears, as well as the nose. So I think we're going to just get right to it here. We're going to slap a couple cheeks on the rat. Not really going for any form yet, just building up the layers here. Again, the clay is pretty well formed, not to mention it is a blend with Sculpey Bake Shop, which I have mentioned multiple times now as a very malleable clay to begin with. Well, let's see, you kind of get a rough shape here. Pull back a little. Pull back on both sides until you get kind of a cheek shape. There you go. And then we'll kind of just match that on this side, pulling back and forth until we have a roughed out kind of cheek shape. And these are very low cheeks on this rat. That's quite alright. Eye shape. It looks like this one is actually well oversized here, so we'll kind of lower that to match this one. We'll kind of roughen eye shape in here. Same on this side, kind of rough the eye shape. Pull back a little bit on the face. You don't want to overdo it, but you're going to rough the cheek shape into position. See, I am ending up with quite a bit of extra clay here, but I do have kind of a rough idea of where I'm at now. So what do I need? I need to pull this down, obviously. I need to adjust that, pull this back possibly. Okay, so we got that. Just take your time on this part of the process, because this is where people are going to kind of rush through. This is the most important part of your rat, is laying the proper foundation on that rat. You see, this is kind of a little bit too much of a rough, obvious peak, so I'll just take that down a little bit to better match this side. You see, we're getting there. We're not fully there. Need this to be down in like that, a little further. And we can pull this down right here to match that. Pull this back. This roughly try to match that shape. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we will get as close as we can get in the allotted amount of time. I don't want to sit here all day trying to get the perfect shaping, because again, realism is not exactly what I'm going for with my particular rats. If you are going for realism, take your time. I'm just going kind of for a feel of the rat. And I think, as far as the feel of the rat, we are pretty close here to what I'm looking for. So I see I got so much extra clay here. I'll take that off. We don't need it. As long as your rat is fully covered, you don't need to have exorbitant amounts of clay just taking up space. Like I said, I don't want, absolutely do not want this to have any issues in the oven during the baking phase. We'll kind of just work this all back to make sure we don't have any kind of foil issues, any exposed foil, and I don't think we do. Now you see, something like this does happen sometimes, and that's actually kind of a lucky kind of twist of fate there. So we will just roll with that. And what I'm describing there, when I say sometimes this happens, I'm talking about the accidental shaping that I just created on this rat. So you see, we're going to follow this line, now that it's there, straight under. You do kind of see where I'm going with this. A mouth shape kind of formed right here. The nose shape kind of formed right here, and that's just as a result of me accidentally moving the clay into that position. So we're going to just kind of rough that front, and we're going to roll with it the way that it kind of decided. The way the clay kind of presented itself. And now it's kind of presenting as a little bit of a butt chin there, so we'll do that. Happy to do that. very rare there. Kind of see we can push some of this up and create kind of the illusion of a double chin. The rat has presented itself as kind of a heavy set rat. And this can be kind of a rough mock-up. It doesn't have to be exactly a perfect representation of a double chin. I think the viewer is going to see and realize what we're going for here. Now we will give this rat lips really quickly. And the rat looks like it's going to have a kind of a little bit of a scowl. It's more of a cat-like feature, but we'll accept it. We'll let it slide this time. A one-time deal. Double chin coming in real nicely there, Tubes. And what we're going to want to do, get your lips in position while maintaining the rest of your shapes and features. Okay, so you see that little kind of space we have in position here for the lips. We will very carefully kind of maintain what we are working with. Don't want to underdo it, don't want to overdo it. Very fine line. And again, butt chin right here. Going like this, and going like this. Very fine line here. We'll kind of rough that chin in a little bit better, so we can kind of see where we're at. Lips are going to be right here, and we're going to go like this, and we're going to kind of give a little bit of one of these. It might be smoking a stove for all we know. We're not at that point in the build yet, but it looks like this rat has got a stogie. I'm just kind of working my clay just to keep it flat and neutral at this point in the build. And we're deciding our nose shape and size. We're going to go maybe a little bit smaller nose on this rat. This is kind of slightly too thin for my liking. We'll kind of thicken it up a little bit here. We might even go high on the nose, which I normally don't really do often with the rats. This clay is actually, seems like it's softer than any of the previous colors I've really worked with. I don't know if that is a brand thing only, because I do know that this clay, the Bake Shop at least, is a very soft workable clay, but I think this brown is actually going on much easier, and that's not always a good thing, but much easier than the black clay was going on. Or it could just be that this is a little bit warmer from being conditioned and mixed in. And now you see we got a little foil showing through. That is gonna be quite an issue when it comes down to when it's time to. It needs to become more ambidextrous here with the left hand and clay sculpting, and we'll start that process of working on that today with that on the side of the nose there. If I could get to the point where I can very confidently work with both hands on the clay, that would be a real blessing. And luckily there, the nose kind of reshaped what we had for that little section, that one missing there with the aluminum foil showing. And we are looking like we're in really great shape at this point. I get that lip neatly formed, working all our clay back in where we want it here, making sure that nose is attached. And yep, we're looking like we're in great shape right now. Great. I'm just kind of pulling everything back to form the back of the head here for this rat. This is always the part where you hear me start kind of taking a little bit of a hissy fit. If I do, which I don't always, but once in a while, I do try to remain very chill, very zen, but once in a while I do kind of lose my cool if I accidentally press something in the front of the rat at this point. But it looks like we made it through that process today. I'm going to sign this rat with an EDC before we get too much further here. I'm going to go ahead and give this rat a couple ears. Very important, you don't want to overwork your rat. This is something I talk about. Obviously, longtime viewers will know the ears is another major thing I talk about. Okay, so the dogs have completed their tirade, at least for now. I went ahead and got these ears on. And we are basically looking at a mostly complete rat. A couple more steps in the process. Long-time viewers will know what's coming next. Really, I guess anyone could guess what's coming next, just based on what you're looking at here, process-wise. It's a little bit too rough there. Okay, so I'm sure you can tell what we're in for here. We got the eyes and the nose. The eyes I like doing, and this part of the nose really always stresses me out, but it's not that big of a deal. Just go straight through your nose. And go ahead and complete the Holy Trinity right here. And this time I'm just going to eyeball it. That's a little too high, I think, on that one. I kind of like to... that's pretty good. We'll do that a pretty good. We'll see how the whiskers actually go in during the whisker placement stage. But for now, we will give this rat 2 eyes, 1 and 2. Okay, and I will come back when it's time to, when my hands are clean, to put the eyeballs in, and then we will be back to, I guess that we'll be back to do that. I guess we'll be back for the eyeball placement in just a moment. Okay, I'm back to put some eyes in this rat. My hands are nice and clean. And we will just roll a couple of quick eyes. Nothing to it but to do it. I'll go ahead and place that eye in the rat. This one might be a little bit too big. I'll go ahead and place this eye in the rat. There you go, you got 2 eyes in the rat. And guess what? We're gonna give this rat, you guessed it, a cigarette. Because like I've been saying, I want to see more cigarette rats in the running for 2026 Rat of the Year. So we'll give him a little bit of a smoke, and we will be back when it's time to finish the details on this rat. Alright, I'm back with this little guy here. This little rat kind of reminds me of, it's kind of more mousy looking than rat looking. but I still think it's a good rat either way. This is another one where I'm kind of on the fence about coloration. What can we do for this one here? I think this one would look good with black too, but I think it would look good with maybe, no, I think the pink might be too light on this one. We're gonna go with black again. I've been going with black on a lot of these rats. I think it does create the right contrast for certain rats. Like this rat, it's a little bit lighter tones, so I think the black will work well to kind of give the rat a little more mood, a little more character. One thing you want, one of the last things you want to hear is someone tells you the rat isn't moody enough. And I mean, this after this long in this industry, you know, you can bet I've heard it all, and yes, I have heard. I've had a couple complaints actually that the rats weren't moody enough. The rat didn't have any kind of atmosphere, and obviously you get complaints kind of on the other side of the fence as well. The rat is far too moody. The rat is staring at me like Fonzie, things like that. I think we went with the right choice. I think it's a good looking color for this rat. I think it's a good color combo. Ooh. Let's go ahead and light that rat's smoke up and keep it moving on to the next and final portion of the video, which will be final pictures of the rat. Thank you for watching if you're still here, and yep, here's the final pictures.